Hey everybody, it's Chris Fletcher from Music Biz Mentors, and this is Making Money, Making Music podcast. Okay, hey everybody, we are talking to Robert E. Lee today, and so I'm going to have him talk about his music career and what he's doing today. And so we're going to go through some of that stuff with him. I think we really learn by talking to people who are doing it today and where they were. So that's how we're going to start. So, hey Robert, so tell us where you are today. Where are you? What state are you? That kind of stuff.
I'm in the lovely Las Vegas, Nevada. Yep, I moved back here about 4 months before the pandemic. It's my second go around living here in Vegas. And of course, the entertainment brought me here, brought me back. And but I guess if we're going to talk about how I got here, I guess we should go back to my younger days. So
Yeah,
I started.
let's start as a yeah. I know you've done so much in the past couple years. Just start out like music wise. How did you start?
Well, when I was about 6 years old, I started playing piano. I told my parents that I could play piano at 6 years old, and I guess I believed myself at that time. I was listening to songs on the radio and playing them back, playing the piano by ear. And I visited a family member, and I told her the same thing. And she's actually a well accomplished musician, opera singer, and travel the world. I mean, she's Grammy nominated and the whole deal. And I told her, hey, I play piano. And she's like, oh yeah, play something. I started playing. And she's like, well, you need to read music. You need to learn how to read music. Of course, with her having this opera background. And she told my parents that I need to get piano lessons. And so I started piano lessons at 6 years old, and competed in the classical world for all through middle school, and did Interlockens art camp in Michigan. I did that for several years in my youth. And then high school hit, and the pop scene kind of grabbed me, watching MTV and music videos. I discovered that I didn't fall out of love with classical music, but I wanted to start writing music and wanted to start writing pop songs and more contemporary songs. And so in high school, I bought my first drum machine. I bought my first digital recorders. I was working with artists at my high school, and we were writing songs, and I that's when I knew I wanted to be a producer and a songwriter and composer, and make a living that way. And shortly after that, I went to a junior college for a little bit, and I had an awesome teacher who was a composer, and I learned how to compose more. And then I dropped out of the junior college, and I think for good reason. I dropped out, and I decided to go to music school. I was like, I don't want to do all the math and the all that kind of stuff. I just want to write music. That's my calling, and I decided to go to Musicians Institute. So yeah, I did that, and I had a blast. My network grew, my networking, kind of happened, and I was off to I started in the keyboard department, and I guess this story is going to be a lot of me backing into things, but I started in the keyboard department, and I realized I don't know if I really want to do keyboards. And I took some time off, went back home for about a year, and then decided I wanted to do the RIT program. I don't know if that's still at MI or not, but it was the Recording Institute of Technology. And I learned how to be a recording engineer, which was, I think, important for me, because now I learned how to make the music that I write sound good. I learned how to use Pro Tools and all the DAWs, and how to EQ and compress, and again, just you know, make what I'm writing sounds good. And so I did that, and I completed the program. I did complete that, and found my way to Las Vegas. And interesting enough, I found myself, at that time, I don't know if they still have it at MI, but it was called MI Connects. Do they still have that at MI? Yep. Okay, so I saw an ad that said, it said, looking for a keyboard player to play at the Bellagio. And I was like, well, I think I can do that. So um, they gave me a song list. So you gotta do these, you have to audition with these songs. And then I knew that there was gonna be like, they wanted some programming too. Like they wanted to program, do some programming and play at the same time. And so I took the initiative to actually program a few songs for my audition. So I showed up, came here to Vegas, showed up with my laptop, a keyboard, plugged me in, and I wowed them. I don't know if I wowed them by my piano playing. I think I wowed them by my work ethic, really, at the end of the day, because I was the only person who came in with like these programmed songs. It was like some Lady Gaga songs, which are very synth heavy and a lot of textural stuff. And so I went and I did all that programming, and they were like, "Wow, you did that?" And I was, "Yeah." And I got a phone call, and before I knew it, I was on the road with the act here. Her name is Diane Diaz, and I traveled with her, went to the South and Biloxi and did casinos there. And then our home base was here at the Bellagio. So I did that for a full year. And that gig ended. That was the era here in Vegas. The room turned into an ultra lounge. So the live bands kind of went away. And through my networking here, and I was able to audition for Casey and the Sunshine Band. And somehow I got into that band, and it was an amazing experience. I traveled the world with Casey and did a few recording studios with them, projects, and it was amazing. And I decided to move back to LA. I was like, my time here is done. Vegas is interesting. Vegas is a place where it's a lot of covers, and that's great, but I was yearning to again write and produce and do original music. So naturally I went back to LA, and again through networking. Everything is networking. It's like who it's like, be on everybody's good side, because your friends will get you the gigs at the end of the day. So a friend said, "Hey, I've worked with a music library, and I think I can't really provide the music that they're wanting. They wanted like some hip hop classical cues for TV shows." And I was able to do that. And I've been writing music for TV ever since. I was writing music, had a rig on the road. So I was traveling with Casey, had a rig on the road for the writing cues. And then something dawned on me, and I was like, you know what? I better learn this music business, make sure I'm getting the money that I deserve. So this was around 2013, 2014. I decided to enroll into Musicians Institute once again. And I went for music business, and I had to go part-time because I was traveling with Casey during the weekends. I was writing music for TV. There was no way I can become a full-time student. So I was supposed to be a 6-month program, but I did it for a full year, and learned the ins and outs about the music business. And wow. And I'm just thinking back, I've done so much since then. I mean, I've written a ton of music since then. I've had thousands of placements on television and film, and scored a couple films here and there, and got into actual film production as well. So I do film production, and I kind of backed into producing live comedy for TV. And I think what really got me, like, because I've done so much, I think I realized that I just like creating things, I love music, and as a creator and an entertainer, I can get that same fulfillment for being in the film industry as a filmmaker. And so all that to say, I mean, I still write music for television and film. I opened up a studio in LA, started producing film content. My life got really hectic doing that, so I had to put the KC and the Sunshine Band thing away. I had to leave that to write and create as much as I can create. And um, yeah, with the live show, with me producing live comedy, it just naturally brought me back to Vegas. And because I'm a musician first, my comedy show, I have a live band. We're called the Fremont Funk, and I was able to hire out some awesome musicians to complement the stand up thing. So basically, my show is ran like a Jimmy Fallon and the Roots kind of situation, and I'm just having fun. I'm just having fun with life and still writing. I got a call the other day um, uh, from a publisher who wanted me to write some more music, and I'm like, okay, I'll go back into writing. You know, it was a little bit, but I'm back into writing and back into music, and I'm just really all over the place. but I'm enjoying myself because I'm creating something. I'm still making music, and I'm in the entertainment industry. So
Yeah, I mean, you've done so much, and you have a family, and so
yeah,
there's a lot of musicians out here that say, "I can't do all this music stuff if I have a family," that kind of stuff. And when you were in LA, when you had your LA studio upstairs, you had another space, and that's where I actually did some of my workshops and stuff. And you had a lot of things going on in that extra space that was there. And I would
yeah,
imagine that prompted you to do more of the film stuff, your film, your
absolutely.
TV shows, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. Well, what happened was is I knew that I wanted to get into film making, and so naturally you know, I have this company called Creative Studios LA, and we do brand stories and films, and naturally I was writing music for the films that I was creating. So it was this really cool thing. So yeah, like you said, like downstairs was my full recording studio. Upstairs, I kind of round that like a little mini sound stage, and really just 360ing the whole deal. I think really what happened, to be honest with you, is I mean, as you know, this music business is not it's not easy writing, to get into, and it is about who you know, and you're constantly pitching yourself. You're constantly trying to get the gigs. So naturally, I think for me, because I'm entrepreneur minded person, I said, well, if I create the movie, the studio, if I have the film studio, I can write the music. So like the hell with really going out there and pushing. I'll do the films, I'll produce the films, and I'll write the music. So I think that's really what kind of happened,
Yeah,
and
and
why.
I love that you were in your entertainment space upstairs. You were doing a lot of different things. I did you have a night when there was a chef that came in, and you had that comedy night, and then also recording musicians because they needed videos.
Absolutely.
We even used your space for photography while before we went downstairs and did a live video in your little
You know what?
studio.
And it all goes back to networking, right? So having the studio is like the biggest net networking tool, like, because people are coming to you. They have a space, they're coming to you. So I mean, through that, I mean, I've had jazz musicians like Peter White come and shoot promo material for Christmas, and just I've worked with Google, actually, like the Google phone. They came in and they had some kind of collaboration they were doing with the Grammys a few years back with Alicia Keys. And so we were able to shoot that kind of promo at my space. That the space that I had there, a lot of reality shows were filmed there, and stuff. So it was, I mean, that was the biggest network. I like to be in it. So at the studio, you're in it, you're networking, people are coming to you, you're inviting people to your space. Like you said, I was hosting the supper clubs, is what we had. We bring the chef in, and we just have a meal and curated conversations. And so again, it's all about that networking, networking,
Yeah,
networking.
you also had like an office space for like creative people, things like that too, right? You were doing like people
Yeah, I
could.
mean, at one point, I mean, Yeah, I had many different spaces. I mean, I had another office in Burbank, and that was my another recording studio that I had, and I got into the studio rental space as well. So I had a facility with 8 studios a couple years back, and renting space. Uh, but again, I can't express it enough. It's all about the networking, and that in that space we had a tenant who actually was an engineer for Old Town Road, which is like the biggest selling, and he happened to just back into that, like most of us do in the industry, backed into that session. And but he was a tenant of ours, and again,
Yeah. And so now that you're in Vegas, you told me you're in your podcast studio right now, right?
yes,
So you're doing that, you're doing TV shows, you're
yep,
hosting a band during that, right?
yes,
And then you're still writing songs for TV and stuff like that.
yes. I'm back in it. I mean, I took a little hiatus,
Hmm.
maybe about 2.5 years. I didn't write anything. Um, but you know what the great thing is I really didn't have to, because residuals. I've written thousands of songs, literally, they still get placed today. So songs that I did 10 years ago, still getting placed, still getting the residual income. So I didn't feel it. Even though I stopped writing, it was like, I'm still getting the checks. The checks are actually getting bigger, and I'm not even writing, like that much anymore. And so yeah, so I'm grateful I was able to take that time off. And but like I say, I mean, I just got the call. It was just time. I got a call last week from one of the publishers I work with, and he's like, man, I sort of, he just said, I kind of miss working with you, and I want to, if you have the time, I'd love to bring you back and do some more work. I've been working on these shows, and I can get you placements immediately. And when somebody says that, I'm like, immediately? Okay, let me see
You
what
know
I
that
can do.
that mailbox money keeps coming.
It is. I mean, it
As
helped
you keep
me.
putting stuff out there, some of the stuff is used again, and then there's always new stuff. And I think there's, especially since the pandemic, I've had a lot of musicians going, I'm going to write songs for TV. And I'm like, okay, do you know how to write songs for TV? Do you have the production stuff that you need? Those kind of things. Because I think a lot of the people that do the music supervision now, I talked to a couple of them last September online here, and they are totally open to getting some submissions from somebody and would rather use independent submission than go to Rolling Stone and pay them $1 million to use 10 seconds of their song.
Absolutely.
And with all the productions too, I actually looked it up for one of my classes, and I think I just looked up like Netflix, like
Yeah.
how many more subscribers they are, and all these new Amazon Prime and Netflix and Hulu, they all have their own Spectrum, they have their own um, shows now,
Absolutely. I mean,
and it hey, I mean, why not? And so I've been trying to encourage people, but they have to do the homework. And now I know that's what you've done. You've said, okay, how do I figure this out, and kind of go and do it. And
yeah,
it's not easy, and it takes time. And I think musicians don't realize how much time it takes. But if you buckle down, right, and you say, I'm going to learn this now, and then you learn everything you need, then you have those skills all the time. You know,
absolutely.
I mean, all the
Absolutely.
skills you have, from the music skills to, for everything from classical to modern and everything in between. And then, you just have to do everything and do
Yeah, you
more than
have.
one thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what's gotten me the thousands of placements that I have, is the fact that, I wasn't just seen as one genre composer. Um, I can do rock, I can do reggae, I can do whatever, world music, so my placements are everything from Nat Geographic um documentaries to news programming to, I mean, you pretty much name it, all the reality shows. And I mean, it's all over. And if I'm not really that experienced in a genre, because let's face it, I mean, you have to learn. You have to, not everybody is perfect at everything. You got to find great collaborators. And so that was something that you know, I do all the time. I collaborate with other composers and musicians. And if I do need a rock guitarist, well, I don't play guitar, I play piano. And there's only so much a virtual instrument can get you. I can get away with a few things, but if you really want to have that authentic sound, well, then I have to call my rock guitarist, and he'll lay down some stuff for me, or a drum programmer um, who can program rock drums very well. So I think the key. I mean, again, I can't emphasize it enough, is the networking, the networking, the networking, and don't see other composers or other musicians as a threat. I never I never really have seen the other composers as a threat. I know it's been probably the contrary. Other people probably see me as a threat, but I really don't, because I guess it's just my confidence. I know that I'm really good at what I do, and I give a style that other people. I just have my own style, so I'm just very confident. I know my own work ethic, and and just get quality, and getting out a lot of cues out at one time. I think I
Yeah.
never was a person who just got out, who, when a publisher calls me, he says, "Oh, I need 3 cues." It's like, no, I'm going to send 6 cues,
Yeah.
and enhance my chances. So yeah.
Yeah, I know there was a music student in our music business classes recently, and his big I mean, I saw him. He just networked with everybody, got to know who did this and who did that, and he ended up like getting jobs for other people and himself and all kinds of stuff. And he actually just moved to Nashville,
Oh, nice.
um, and because he already had some work out there, and so he's still taking classes part time and all that kind of stuff. But it's all about the networking. And even my one musician Anna, we were talking one day, and I said, you need to go to that jam at night, and she
Yeah,
goes, oh, but it starts at 11 o'clock. I said, but you have to go, because that's where all the musicians are. And when they see you sing or play or something like that, here comes, oh, I want you to play on my album, or hey, can you do this gig for me, and all kinds of stuff. And I don't think people realize, you got to find out where all the musicians hang. Right,
absolutely,
so you can really do that networking. And maybe it's not just musicians too, like we have the California Copyright Conference here, that's
absolutely.
music publishing and stuff like that. We've invited so many students to go to that, and they go, oh, I don't know if I'm ready. I said, you don't got to be ready. You just got to be like starting to mix and mingle with people, because even if you're not ready yet, you become a friend with that person, and then you can say, hey, then you, instead of saying, will you play something for me, you can say, hey, can you look at this and can you give me your opinion?
Yeah,
And am I on the right track? And what else do I need to
absolutely.
do? And all
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. It is truly all in the networking.
yes,
And like you said early, diversifying is just kind of whatever your skills are, or learning new skills,
yeah.
diversifying seems to me the way to go, always has
Not
been.
being afraid to learn at the end of the day. I mean, because these are all new skills. I I've been, fortunate enough to produce a television show, and I didn't go to school for film. I went to school for music, but I was willing to learn, and learn all this stuff. Learn, excuse me, the lighting. Learn, um, how to frame up. And ultimately, and even how to edit. But ultimately, that doing that skill makes me even a better musician, because now I'm working on both sides of the table. Um, Film and the music. I cut film, and I can cut the music to the film. It's yeah, I'm just willing to learn as much as I can.
What's the name of the comedy show that you're putting together, that you are working on?
So it's called Laugh After Dark,
Huh?
and we are downtown Las Vegas
Mhm.
at a venue called Notoriety, once a week on
Oh.
Saturday nights. So
And how can they catch it? Can
they
they
can
can
catch
they
it on
see it?
Amazon.
Amazon?
Amazon, and we're working with. We've actually shot another season here in Vegas last summer, and that'll be out in the streamers pretty soon. So
That's great. You know, that's
yeah,
and still being a musician. You know, I
absolutely,
is important because I've seen people like move to the business side, but then don't do music anymore, and there's something missing for them. You know,
absolutely.
so I think that's to me. I think that's I'm always encouraging people, no matter what you do or fall into, don't forget you're a musician, even if you're just playing for your friends or
Well, look,
making a song.
I wrote the theme song, right? So
There we
so I
go.
wrote the theme song, I wrote the bumper, and and the band is just amazing. I mean, we have top notch musicians here in Vegas who
Hmm.
tour all over the world, and the musical director Chris Cadenhead, he's a very accomplished pianist. He was my musical director for Casey and the Sunshine Band, and when I moved out here to Vegas, he uh, followed, you know, and decided to move out here as well because there's that opportunity, especially during the pandemic. And again, I'm able to pass to make him musical director and take care of the band, you know, for me. And then like he's a great collaborator as far as um, we've written a lot of music for television and film together. So we've done a lot of joint songwriting. So yeah, I'll be able to pass along a job, you know, providing jobs, I guess, you know, for other musicians. I now hire out, you know, 4 musicians every week, and it's great. I love it.
You know, there came a time when you said, I can't go out on the road anymore because I'm making more money over here in this business. And,
Yeah,
you know, so you have to, when you can diversify, but sometimes something really picks up for you know?
absolutely.
And it, you know, doesn't mean you got to give up performing live, you know, or something like that, but that was taking you away from your business.
Yeah,
And
I mean, and usually that stuff I find that it's you back into it, and it's something that comes out of left field. It's something
plus
that
you enjoy it,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know? It's not
yeah,
like you're saying,
absolutely,
oh, I got to write another song, you know?
absolutely, absolutely. And it was good. I feel it was good for me to take a break from writing music. I mean, I've written so
Mhm.
much that I needed to. I probably would have blown myself out, you know, if I
Yeah, yeah. One
took.
of my musicians at one time was writing a lot of songs for movies, and they said, I feel like I'm like a machine here, you know. I
Yeah,
need to get out and do some more live stuff, you know. I do more original stuff because you're like, uh-oh, no, I'm losing my originality kind of thing on the original
absolutely.
stuff, you know.
Absolutely. That was always my biggest worry is okay, every time I fire up the system, it's like, am I going to be able to do this time? Do I have enough creativity up here to
Yeah.
still be, you know, somewhat original or, you
So you
know,
got to use it or you lose it, you know.
absolutely got to, you know, and
So
yeah,
yeah, so it's really important with that kind of stuff. So
absolutely.
with so I mean, so you're using all your skills now, everything
Absolutely.
you're doing. And again, just one of the biggest things is, you know, I talk to a lot of musicians who don't even know where to network. um but can you talk a little bit more about that, like getting out and doing some networking, or where you go to meet other musicians? You know, is there some suggestions you can give us?
You know, I mean, social media is really good. People are always promoting something on social media. So they're
Mhm.
always saying, oh, it's, you know, there's this release party or this, you know, rap party or event or whatever. And so there's enough of that out there. You know, I mean, you can, you know, for a while it was, you know, we had a meetup at one time. So we were doing that. And, you know, there's Eventbrite to look. But again, a lot of the time, these, you know, it's somebody's birthday party or something, you know, it's a lot of time it's not even music related or film related. It's just celebrating somebody's birthday party. And then at that birthday party, you meet somebody that is a potential collaborator. So yeah, there's no real trick. It's just when somebody invites you to something, just probably you should say in the back of your head, I should probably go to that because that might be an opportunity to meet somebody that I need to meet. Ended up with the comedy show at the Vineyard Notoriety because well, here's the story. We were doing podcasts in LA for a little bit during the pandemic, and then I decided to network within the the Vegas community. So I wanted to network with Vegas comedians and such. And so I put out there that we were going to be shooting podcasts with comedians here in Vegas. And I just put that out there. Come out to the, I want to meet you. We want to do podcasts. Very good way to network as well. And one of the comedians that was there, he was like, after we wrapped the podcast, he was like, man, you need to visit this venue. It's called Notoriety, and they do stand-up stuff there, and you just go. You need to go. And again, we just wrapped up like 5 hours of podcasting. And I'm like, oh, now I got to go to this venue, and I'm hungry and whatever. So we decided to, reluctantly go to this venue. And through that, we met the owner. He liked our vision. And a month later, we're doing a weekly comedy show at this venue. And I'm, now doing comedy every week, making a little bit off that, and also being able to provide opportunities to these comedians and musicians. Just because I reluctantly went to this little place called Notoriety and end up meeting the owner. Again, just gotta go.
All musicians have things in common.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting to know how small the world is, especially in the music area. How many people know somebody else? And
Absolutely.
like I had a student ask me, "Do you know somebody who can play? Who wanted a harp player?" And
Yeah.
I said, "Well, I don't know, but I know somebody who does. That kind of stuff." So sometimes you just gotta ask.
Yeah. And there's people out there in the world that I truly think, these are personalities that some people are naturally like facilitators,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a really great friend to have. Somebody who has that network, who likes to put people in the room together,
Mm-hmm.
those facilitators. That's, and so I have a good friend who literally I call up, I'm like, hey, I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z. Do you know how I can do that? And he's like, oh, I got you. Let me give you this person's phone number and do it. So yeah, again, that's a skill set, that's a personality trait. But if you know those people, and I don't want to say use them, because again, this is not any using. We help each other out. You'll go further, And again, you're not doing this, you can't do this from just being at home all day. You can't meet those people. You can't, you have to, I don't know, at least hop on a Zoom call and do a podcast. That's the best way. Again, podcasting with people, good way to network and figure out how to put yourself out there and network. And it costs money. That's another thing too. You have to invest in it. So I wasn't the best at first to want to go to those ASCAP conventions or BMI or CSAC songwriting which we know costs hundreds of dollars to go to. But I do say, yeah, you should do that. You should spend a little money, invest in and go to those BMI songwriting events and whatnot. Also, for composers, I would say, and this again, when I go into this is because I'm in the film industry, but I think composers should go to film festivals. You're a composer, go to the film festival where you can network and meet some of these directors and producers of film. It's the easiest way. There's a million of them out there. Go to the film festivals, meet, network. Or, one thing that we're looking into here at my studio is going to these events as press.
Yeah.
Documenting these events, that's, they always, there's a spot for that. There's, for instance, at the Grammys, if you go to the Recording Academy website, you'll see, hey, if you're press, here's how you can, get your credentials or whatever to be able to get on that red carpet.
Yeah.
So that's another way to get in. If you're,
I know a musician who started her own online magazine just so she could meet other musicians and to see her, people that she really liked. And she did reviews and, interviews and all that kind of stuff. And she learned a lot and that's how she networked.
yeah, you're on the red carpet, right? You're there in the action, taking pictures of, you know, your favorite stars, and hopefully not fanning out at the same time. But yes, that's how you get into the action. Again, I mean, this is for me, I think this is well, the live entertainment capital of the world. I think is probably here in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Entertainment capital, still LA, but live music, I think, is here. I mean, there's so many opportunities to play for money here in this town. So, yeah.
Well, great. Any other suggestions you want to give to new musicians that are just coming out of school, or anything like that? Any suggestions you want to give to us?
I mean, I've given all the what I think. You know, I'll just reinstate that confidence play a big role. You have to be confident. Also, um, confidence, and also going out there and networking. Again, it's about who you know. That's the biggest thing. And I'm getting reminded that we're looking for interns too. So anybody here in the Vegas area, please reach out if you're interested in interning for us here at the studio. Again, we do film, music, podcasting, everything entertainment for the most part. So, yeah.
Very cool. Well, thank you for updating us with what's going on with what you're doing
Yeah.
out there. One of these days I'll come out and visit.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
I haven't been anywhere since the pandemic started, so it's
yeah,
almost time for a trip.
Now, and I have a question. I have a question for you as a music manager. How did it affect you and your booking and the colleges and all the stuff that you do?
There is no booking.
But
So
not even.
I pretty much went and put my promotions hat back on, because when I
Gotcha.
started working in the industry here in LA, I did it back east too, but especially in LA, I started doing publicity and promotion. And so I started working with some people, like trying to get them current by making them do online stuff, making them put new music out, that kind of stuff. And so I kind of just put with my own artists too. I'm like, I want you to write songs. Harold that I work with, he started doing virtual concerts,
That's
and
right. Yeah.
he's still doing them.
I know. I tune in every once in a while.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he still does a Tuesday, and he does third Thursdays. He does a full concert. And but the other thing was too is that because we had so many people coming, now we're talking about how do we monetize that, because we have quite a few hundred people coming, and he never likes to ask for money. Right? So I'm trying to convince him that these people who come every week, that were coming, they pay $5 to come see him for a special concert once a month, that kind of stuff. And I'm learning how to do classes for myself online. I'm doing something called Kajabi.
Okay.
And so I'm finishing my Getting Gigs, Getting Paid ebook, and I'm going to turn it into a course.
Nice.
So
yeah,
it's a learning curve.
Yep.
But it is what it is.
Yes.
So, well, thank you for letting us know what you're doing, and stay in touch. I see your ads on social media and stuff like that. So
you do?
Yeah, I do. I have seen them. Yeah, I've seen them. So I was like, oh, he's doing something this week. I have to one of these.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon, right?
Yeah, on Amazon.
Okay.
Yep. And we'll be on some other platforms pretty soon, but right now it's Amazon, and yeah, we're just keeping busy with the show. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Having fun, right? I mean, I feel like I'm in one of the best positions. I mean, in the time of pain and hurt or whatever, my job is laughter, and laughing.
That and music
and making fun of
is what gets us through, right?
That and music, right? So
now you're just pushing everybody's laughter up.
Yeah, laughter and feel good, right? Yeah, that's all we can do is try.
It's all about that.
Yeah. So.
Well, thank you, Robert. I appreciate you coming on, and we'll stay in touch.
Absolutely, anytime.
All right.
All right. Take care.
Okay, just a little summary of what we've learned from Robert E. Lee. Some of the big takeaways here. The biggest one was networking. Um, your musicians are your friends. And so you want to start thinking about, you know, getting together with other musicians, maybe collaborating, going to some other kind of networking event that'll all start opening up, those kind of things, because having people in different areas that you can go to is going to really grow your career and keep up your music skills. He's still performing, he's still writing for TV and film, even though he is working on some other projects in TV. And then the last thing is keep learning. Remember that every skill that you learn is going to help you diversify. Diversifying with doing more than one thing with your skills is going to put money in your pocket. So I hope you really learned something today and come on back again and we'll be doing some more interviews with Making Money, Making Music podcast. Thanks so much.